What is up with the San Francisco 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk? Dude, this situation with them like not releasing him and stuff and wanting to trade for him and whatnot, I'm like, I don't think any team's going to trade for him. Like, eventually you're just going to have to get rid of it. It is one of the weirdest scenarios I've seen with a wide receiver. It is. It's really weird. And I think both parties, if I'm being real with you, I think both parties are like Brandon Aiyuk's team, Brandon Aiyuk himself, right? Mainly Brandon Aiyuk, and the 49ers have just had this weird relationship. And honestly, if you think about it, if you think about how things have been going the past 3 to 4, like, it really got weird after the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. It did in my opinion. I mean, in that game, you hear Brandon Aiyuk talk about it, and he felt like he wasn't targeted. He was kind of throwing shade in that offseason, right? Like, he was talking a lot about like Jaden Daniels and shit once the contract stuff started to come up. But I think a lot of it, the root started right after that Super Bowl. Like, and I thought it was a little bit odd in that Super Bowl. I really did, because I'm like, why is Shanahan? Why is Brock Purdy? And I understand Shanahan does a lot on the back end to like pre-manufacture these plays, right? Wanting Brock Purdy to go to certain spots. But we all know if Brock Purdy scrambles off script, there's a good chance he can make a pretty good play out of it. So sometimes things, they don't go the way Shanahan wants it. But for the most part, in that Super Bowl, I did find it very like odd how Brock Purdy was throwing to they were like forcing the ball to Deebo Samuel. Like, in that game, Deebo Samuel had 11 targets, and Trent McDuffie was locking his ass down, dude. He was locking him up all game long. Like, Deebo Samuel was getting no separation. And if you know Deebo Samuel, you'll know that Brandon Aiyuk is the wide receiver. Yes, I understand Deebo Samuel is a wide receiver, but while his time on the San Francisco 49ers, he was like a gadget player. They put him at running back, right? They throw him in fly sweeps. They just do anything and everything with Brandon Aiyuk. Like, he wasn't a primary wide receiver. Brandon Aiyuk, on the other hand, was a primary wide receiver. And in that 24 season, Brandon Aiyuk was playing as good as ever. Yo, you're not subscribed? Come on, man. Why you not subscribed? Be sure to drop a like on this video as well while you're at it. And be sure to follow me on Instagram. Drop any topic of discussion, any question in there. We can make a video on it. Even if you have a player, we can do some film review on them as well. All right, now let's get back to the video. Like, dude, I knew he was a good route runner, but after that 24 season, I was like, holy shit. I was like, dude, they're about to pay this homie. And then we get into the offseason, they end up losing the Super Bowl. We get into the offseason. He's kind of acting weird and stuff. Like, he wasn't happy about his targets in the Super Bowl. Rightfully so. Brandon Aiyuk only got 6 targets in that game, which I think is kind of crazy. It's not terrible. Like, 6 targets isn't terrible. But at the same time, I'm like, why are we giving Brandon Aiyuk 6 targets and we're giving Deebo Samuel 11 targets? When the one guy is a much better wide receiver and a great route runner. So we get into the offseason, right? He's complaining about that. And then the whole contract thing comes up. And we all know how it dragged out. Like, Brandon Aiyuk was being extremely petty. He's being really extra. Sometimes with some of these diva wide receivers, they just do the most extra. And in my belief, I thought Brandon Aiyuk was being extra. I did. I was like, San Francisco 49ers are clearly trying to strike a deal. And I don't think they dragged it out, if I remember right. I could be wrong. Maybe they did drag it out, because they've done that with like other players. They did it with Bosa. They did it with Deebo Samuel. But I felt like they were trying to get it done like all offseason. And Brandon Aiyuk was being extra petty, super immature. And I'm like, okay, this isn't entirely on the San Francisco 49ers. And as a result of that, you could see their fans starting to turn on Brandon Aiyuk, right? And I'm sure they still feel the same exact way. So the whole offseason goes along, and Brandon Aiyuk finally gets his contract, right before the season starts. And then, worst case scenario for him, he starts the season, him and Brock Purdy, the connection just isn't there. It isn't there. And it would take them up until like 2 to 3 weeks before he ended up getting injured, where he was actually starting to like pop off, show he was his old self. And then his knee got messed up. He got the ACL, all the other structural damage that went wrong with his knee. And it was like, shit, dude, like, you know, like it didn't look good for Brandon Aiyuk, and then he ended up getting hurt, and it was just like, holy shit, like what are the San Francisco 49ers going to get from Brandon Aiyuk? And then, you know, the next season comes around. I'm hearing rumors Brandon Aiyuk could be back at some point in the season, and it's dragging out. So even I'd heard Lynch and them, they'd be all positive, like, oh yeah, Brandon this, Brandon that. And then we get further along, right? And it's like, oh, Brandon Aiyuk hasn't even been in the facility. Like, oh, and then we hear later, like, oh, apparently he hasn't been rehabbing. And, oh, the 49ers are going to void his contract. And it's like, holy shit, dude. Like, where did everything go so south so fast? Like, what is happening? And so I think there is something funky that we're just not getting the full details, right? And I don't think it's just Brandon Aiyuk. Like, I think the San Francisco 49ers, I think they play part in this as well. Like, let's not act like they have not had some weird shit going on with players. Like, right now, they have something going on with Trent Williams. Right now. Like, I swear, like, the past, like 4 years with the San Francisco 49ers, they've had, like, contract disputes, drama in the offseason, but a lot of, like, contract structural type of shit happening. And this is like the one offseason where they really haven't had any of that. But now it's Trent Williams. We'll see if they get that done, because without a left tackle, you know, without Trent as a left tackle, it's like, you guys can draft a guy, but you better hope that he's a starter, or you guys are going to be screwed, and Brock Purdy's going to be taking a lot of hits. So I just think there's something that's missing from this, like, this whole thing going on with Brandon Aiyuk. And now the San Francisco 49ers are just holding on to him, and they're like, oh, we want to get a draft pick. We're wanting to get a draft pick. And the more it's dragging out, the longer this is taking, I don't think they're going to get a draft pick, right? And when we heard about all that void stuff, it was like, oh, they're just going to get rid of him. They're just going to release him. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, they're just going to get rid of him, move past this, right? They end up going out getting Mike Evans. They end up going, they have Ricky Pearsall. Who's the other wide receiver that they had? Christian Kirk. Yeah, they got Christian Kirk as well. I'm like, dude, it seems like they're moving past Brandon Aiyuk. So I'm like, why are we letting this drag out? You know? And along with that, I see George Kittle sit and talk about how he kind of kept in contact with him, and he'd never see, you know, he'd see him in the weight room. He'd see Brandon Aiyuk in the weight room, and then he just kind of stopped seeing him. So I'm like, dude, there is some type of disconnect. There is something on the back end, or in the mix of this, something that we're just not being told. And I feel like it's something that we're not going to be finding out until like the next year or two, right? And I'm sure like both parties are obviously, it's like a smear campaign from both ends. Brandon Aiyuk's party, right? Along with San Francisco 49ers trying to save their ass. But I think it's both of them. And I don't really feel like we have the full story of what the hell is going on. And at this point, I like I said earlier, I'm sure San Francisco 49ers fans, if you're a fan of your team, rightfully so, right? Like, you're going to be there. Like, you're like backing up Lynch, you're backing up Shanahan and all them. But I'm like, something's going on. Like, I'm not going to sit and act like they're innocent in this, but something is going on. And when the truth comes out, I think people might be shocked. And I don't know, dude. Like, Brandon Aiyuk, I think he can still play. Like, I was talking to a friend, and my friend he's done. He's done. I heard other people saying that too. They're like, he's done. He's not going to play football. No other team is going to want to pick him up. And I'm like, there's no way in hell, dude. There is no way in hell. I'm like, I'm sure he can still run. I'm sure he could still be a good wide receiver. Like, how good, I really couldn't tell you. But I'm like, I'm sure Brandon Aiyuk could still be somewhat of himself. It's not like 20, 30 years ago with ACLs to the point where like get an ACL injury and it's done. It's like, no, dude, like these dudes recover at like a different rate right now. And so I think Brandon Aiyuk's going to play again. San Francisco 49ers, they have their own thing, dude. They got their wide receiver set. They could go out and draft another guy for all we know. But I think both parties just need to move past this shit. Like, they need to get rid of him. And I don't know. I think I just feel like there's something missing that just none of us know right now. Not even some NFL insiders, but hey, man, I could be wrong. You guys let me know what you guys think about this scenario. Let me know anything that I missed about this whole Brandon Aiyuk San Francisco 49ers thing. I tried to cover everything that I've heard up to this point and everything that we've seen out there, because there's been a lot of shit with this whole deal. But yeah, you guys let me know down in the comments in about the whole scenario. But be sure to drop a like, subscribe to your boy. All we do is talk football. Appreciate you watching. It's your boy Shady Luke, and I'm outie. Deuces.